Hello again, everybody. It's me, Marcus, and I review stuff. Today I'm back with the Smiths. I'm listening to How Soon Is Now. So far from the Smiths, I've heard I Know It's Over, which at first didn't quite like, but it grew on me. I listen to it actually pretty regularly now. It's a pretty enjoyable song. I also heard The Charming Man, which I loved right out the gate. So, the Smiths, they're starting to grow on me. I'm starting to like them a little bit more. And so I'm excited to get back to him today with How Soon Is Now. This comes as a request. I'll get the old headphones there. And so, as always, if you would like to request something, all you have to do is just leave a comment down below, and I'll get to it eventually. And I do say eventually because I do have a very long list of songs that people would like for me to review. So, let's just go ahead and knock it out. This is the Smiths. How Soon Is Now? Here we go.
The sun and the air all the shyness that is criminally vulgar. I am the sun and air of nothing in particular. You shut your mouth, how can you say I go about things the wrong way? Everybody else does. I am the sun and the air. The shyness that is criminally vulgar. I am the sun and air of nothing in particular. You shut your mouth, how can you say I go about things the wrong way? I am human and I need to be loved, just like everybody else does.
was cool. I like that song. You know, it doesn't quite sound like whatever else I've heard from this band, Smiths, but to me, it brings to mind like Tears for Fears or something like that. And I'm not sure which one came first, or if they were kind of coming up at the same time, or what have you. But that's good. That's kind of what this song reminds me of, is like a Tears for Fears song, which is not bad at all. It definitely sounds very good, and there's a lot to like about this song. And I was also surprised that it was 7 minutes, almost 7 minutes long, 6:48. I mean, I know that's more rare now, but even in the 80s, I feel like, you know, that's a bit of a longer song. So I thought it was cool. You know, it's important that when you do make a song that long that you don't, or, you know, even longer, as I mentioned recently in my Porcupine Tree review, that you got to keep it interesting. You know, you have to make sure that that the listener doesn't get bored throughout the length of the song. I definitely didn't get bored throughout these 6.5, almost 7 minutes. So, you know, I thought it was a good song. Let's break it apart. I could tell that, you know, the lyrics were definitely a little on the darker side. So it starts with verse 1, I am the son and the heir of a shyness that is criminally vulgar. I am the son and heir of nothing in particular. I think that's kind of interesting, because at first you could easily hear that as a play on words, right? Because it says, I am the son, S-O-N, which obviously sounds just like sun, S-U-N. They're two words that sound the same but mean different things. And then you have the word heir, which is like someone who inherits something after someone passes, but it also sounds like the air, you know, the wind blowing through. So I don't know if there is a play on words there, or if it's just kind of a fun way to sort of sound a little bit different. But I am the son and the heir of a shyness that is criminally vulgar. So I guess they inherited their shyness from their parents or from someone else, or perhaps that the shyness has just been developed over years and years. I am the son and heir of nothing in particular. You shut your mouth, how can you say, I go about things the wrong way. I am human and I need to be loved just like everybody else does. So even though I'm super shy, even though I feel like maybe I don't always feel worth it, I am still a human at the end of the day, and so I still like command that sort of respect that is due to all human beings. And then on top of that, I think it's also like, how can you judge me? At the end of the day, we're both human. You know, we need to be loved just like everyone else is. You know, as I think sometimes depressing as some Smiths songs can be, I think there's usually just a nugget of hope or just kindness or of love in each of their songs. You know, I think back to I Know It's Over, and I just love that line. It's so easy to I don't remember exactly what he says, but it's so easy to hate. It takes strength to be loving and kind, something like that, right? And so, like, even though that song is pretty depressing overall, there's just that nugget of just sweetness and tenderness and just really, really great message. And I feel like I'm getting that here too. It's like he's kind of putting himself down. He's too shy. He feels like he has inherited almost nothing in particular. But at the end of the day, he's still human and needs to be loved just like everyone else. I am the son and the heir of a shyness that was criminally vulgar. I am the son and heir of nothing in particular. You shut your mouth, how can you say, I go about things the wrong way? I am human and I need to be loved, just like everybody else does. There is a club, if you'd like to go. You could meet somebody who really loves you. So maybe this is someone talking to him now, you know, super shy person. Maybe it's their friend saying, hey, you know, there's this club, you know, if you try to get out, maybe you'll have a good time, you know, maybe you'll meet somebody. So you go and you stand on your own and you leave on your own and you go home and you cry and you want to die. Boy, if that ain't the truth. And so it sounds to me like, again, it's like a friend saying, hey, you know, go out to the club, meet somebody. But again, this person is just very shy. That's not really in their nature. So it's kind of just like they go to this club kind of on their own. They stand there on their own, and they leave on their own. They don't really have the social skills required to really put themselves out there in that capacity. And boy, do I feel that. And you go home and cry and you want to die. And boy, do I feel that also. So, your night out clubbing was a total failure because you're just not that sort of person. When you say it's going to happen now, when exactly do you mean? I've already waited too long and all my hope is gone. And so this is kind of the beginning of the title of the song. The title of the song, How Soon Is Now. That's kind of what it's saying here. When you say it's going to happen now, when exactly do you mean? So I think it's sort of, I think what he's talking about here is like people tell him like you'll get over it, you'll put yourself out there, and it's going to happen any time now. And then he's like, when exactly do you mean? Like, when exactly am I going to get over this? See, I've already waited too long and all my hope is gone. So he's been trying and trying and trying, and it hasn't paid off for him. You shut your mouth, how can you say I go about things the wrong way? I am human and I need to be loved just like everybody else does. So, like I said, I think there's definitely a darkness to the lyrics, but one thing they do beautifully is to always put maybe a bit of a little nugget of truth or a nugget of just sunshine and something to really grasp onto. I'm seeing a little bit of discussion here about how this song could also be about gay rights, and this was made in the 80s, so it totally makes sense to me. You look at, you could look at part of the song as maybe disowning his family. He's the heir of nothing in particular. He sort of says, they didn't accept me for who I was, so I move on from that on my own. I think you could read that into that here where it says, I am human, I need to be loved just like everybody else does, saying, just because I'm gay, don't treat me differently. I can also see it, and in that same line, you shut your mouth, how can you say I go about things the wrong way? How can you say that my lifestyle is wrong? And so at the end of the day, we're all human. We all need love. And then this last part, verse 3, when you say it's going to happen now, when exactly do you mean? See, I've already waited too long and all my hope is gone. That could definitely be a conversation about gay rights and, how soon, when are we going to get those rights? When is the stigma going to be lifted? And so I think there's multiple ways to read this. I think my first reading through it, I'm very much in the vein of just this is about a person who really can't put themselves out there. And I think for me, that's because I relate to that the most. I'm even though I do this channel and I sit in front of a camera and I talk about a song after I listen to it and I kind of put myself out there, that's not really like my natural state. My natural state is very shy, very reserved. So I think that's the part of this song that I really connect to the most. And the thing is, I've been to bars, I've been to clubs, and I'm that person just standing there like, yeah, this is something. And I don't really talk to anybody I don't know. I don't really interact with anybody I don't know. I don't go buy anybody a drink. It's just kind of like I'm just kind of there. And I realize that's not always the most fun person to be around in that situation. But at the same time, it's just like that's who I am. I sort of just grew up with this shyness and this uneasiness around certain social situations. Now, I generally consider myself a pretty fun person. I like to crack jokes. I'm really silly. I love to hang out with I do have my established set of friends and everything, but it's just like in those sort of social situations where you go to a bar to meet somebody, it's never worked for me. I even recall going with some friends and back when I was single, you see a girl you think is cute, and I remember telling my friend hey man, that girl's really cute or whatever, but I'm like, and I told him I was like, but I'm too much of a chicken shit to actually go say something, so I'm just gonna let you know I think she's cute, but that's about as far as I can get. So yeah, so and I've had that experience before where you do want to put yourself out there. Your friend recommends going out, so you go out, you actually try. But at the end of the day, your nature, I guess, overcomes you, and it's just kind of you're just there. And at the end of the night, you go home on your own, and yeah, you do kind of go home, and it's like that meme. It's an old meme now, but you kind of look in the mirror and why are you like this? I don't know if you guys ever watched Letterkenny. I wish I would have watched it sooner in my life, just because I probably would have God, I can't remember their names. I watched like all of Letterkenny in like the span of 2 months, and for some reason their names are slipping on me. But basically, Wayne tells Derry all the time, like, "Wish you weren't so fucking awkward, bud." And I feel like that's me to me. Like, I say that to myself after I go home from the club, and I'm just like, "Fuck, why are you so fucking awkward, bud? Just wish you weren't so fucking awkward, bud." So that's me. Anyway, there's a whole rambling to say. I truly relate to this song, I guess, on a personal level, in sort of the personal grassroots way. But I can also see a bigger message here. If that's truly what they were going for, I honestly have no idea. But I could definitely see how that would track there as well. So anyway, lyrically, I thought it was great. I give it 2 thumbs up. I like that there are multiple possible ways to read it. And of course, I think music is always enjoyed more when you can relate to it on some level. So the fact that I can relate to this song, I definitely enjoy it a lot more. So yeah, 2 thumbs up lyrically. Really like that one. Instrumentally, I really like what they did here. There was a few bass lines in there that I really liked. The guitar throughout was really good. I can't even like reproduce the sound in my head, but I just remember I was like, yeah, I really like that. And it really gave off like a... I don't want, like, this is gonna sound really wrong, and like not wrong in like a dirty or in that sense, but wrong is in like I don't know what I'm talking about, and which I truly don't. But to me, it almost sounded like I don't want to say grunge, but it sounds like music that would come along later in the 90s, with the sort of distortion or the sort of the dreamy, wavy sort of guitars throughout. And so I think, I really like that about the song. I really like the guitar. The riffs that they were pulling off were good, and it just kind of put a nice groove to the song that I think I really liked. I think Morrissey sounds really good here. I think I'm kind of getting used to his sort of listless crooning style. It's definitely grown on me. I think it was sort of a shock, and I think that's maybe one reason why I had originally rated I Know It's Over so low, because I wasn't used to his voice. That was truly my first time listening to the Smiths, and so I was maybe taken aback a little bit by his voice. After now 3 songs in, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of used to his voice. I like his singing style a lot more. It's definitely grown on me. So I think instrumentally and vocally, I'm giving this one 2 thumbs up as well. It's got enough for me that even without the lyrics, I could come back to this song and just kind of groove out to it. It's got enough for me there to just be an enjoyable listen. And so then as far as replay value goes, look, like I said, the I Know It's Over has really made its way into my rotation quite nicely, and so has the Charming Man. Charming Man comes on, I'm listening to it, so I think this one has its place too. I really enjoyed this one. I really like the style of it. I know it's maybe not their typical style. I know I shouldn't expect this style from the rest of their songs probably, but because it is a little bit more on the upbeat side instrumentally, or at least on the more not depressing side instrumentally. But it's a good song, and I definitely want to listen to it again, and I can definitely see it's again, because I relate to it so strongly, especially lyrically. I feel like it definitely has its place in my rotation, so I'll give it 2 thumbs up there as well. I don't know if I rated it or not yet, but anyway, really enjoyed the song. Thank you so much for this request. I do have more songs from the Smiths on my list to cover, so you'll be hearing more from them in the future. So if you like the music, hey, go listen to it wherever you can. One place you can definitely check it out is going to be in my Spotify playlist, which is down in the description. It's got every single song I've listened to so far on my channel. Although sometimes I get behind on updating it, so I try not to put songs in there before I've reviewed them. But sometimes it happens, and sometimes I forget to put them in there entirely, so I have to go back and check, make sure it's updated. But that's it for me. If you want to support me, just consider doing all the normal things you do on YouTube, like and subscribe and comment. I saw yesterday that like 93% of my views come from unsubscribed people, which is totally fine. Just consider supporting the channel if you can. And that's it for me. Hope you guys are staying safe. Hope you're staying healthy, and I really hope to see you in the next video. Bye.